Arizona basketball gets its win of the season in very, very unlikely fashion.
You are Locked On Wildcats, your daily podcast on the Arizona Wildcats. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks for keeping it Locked On Wildcats, making this your first listen of the day, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. All right, Arizona basketball gets its win of the season in remarkable fashion. Arizona is how do I put this? Arizona it looked very much like they were going to lose, and we were hearing the similar refrains that Tommy Lloyd doesn't know what he's doing, that Caleb Love is just not good enough, that he's going to shoot you out of games, this, that, and the other. Then Caleb Love makes a Hail Mary shot. But, the funny thing about it, it looked like he thought that it was going in, which is a really cool aspect about the entire thing. But Caleb Love makes that shot. Then Arizona goes into overtime and just beats the doors off Iowa State. That was absolutely fantastic across the board. Not exactly even sure what to say on that one. So the big thing, too, you need to look at it and say Arizona now is 8-1, and they're 8-1. And you could say, you're frustrated by it. That's the whole Caleb Love experience in a nutshell, right there. In that, he can drive you absolutely up a wall, but when he is making plays, there are few better in college basketball. And what I love about it is I love the confidence level that he plays with. He goes out there and you could tell, like when he let go of that shot, he kind of thought it was going in. There was just a confidence level, and that's what I need from Caleb Love. I need that confidence level from him. And when he's doing that, Arizona's going to be very, very difficult to beat. And then in overtime, he took over. I mean, that was his time in overtime. He wanted those 3-point shots. He wanted those, and they went in. It was really that simple. Watching him, though, it is it's going to be a mercurial experience, but he can clearly play. He's made a lot of really big shots, and I think the people that don't really want to acknowledge that, they're just kind of haters. Again, it's okay to be frustrated by him, but at the same time, he also does a lot of really good things out on the basketball court for Arizona. Plus, we got to talk about his defense a little bit. His defense, I thought, was fantastic on Curtis Jones. You got to give him a little bit of credit for that one as well. But overall, just a nice one. And again, too, with Caleb, just a really, really good dude. A guy that everybody on the team likes. Not only does everybody on the team like him, you watch him, and he's just kind of that guy that he just kind of, I think Caleb Love just kind of gets life. And I think that's something that we're going to keep talking about. But now Arizona is 8-1 in the conference, and that part is huge, obviously. So with 8-1 comes, you start to talk about it. Can Arizona win this conference? And again, Houston is the prohibited favorite right now. I don't think that there's any doubt about that. Houston, in my opinion, is the best team in the conference. But at the same time, this is also a team that Houston that can struggle to score at times. Arizona gets them at McHale. So you're going to have that opportunity to be able to continue to move those things and continue to move in that right direction. But it's not going to be easy, obviously, for Arizona. But you're 8-1 in Big 12 play. You've got to start looking at it from that perspective and say that, this maybe this team can run some stuff off and really surprise. I think you also got to ask yourself, too, is Tommy Lloyd the coach of the year in the conference at this point? Probably not. Probably Kelvin Sampson. But I think going into the season, I think it's a far bigger surprise that that Arizona is 8-1 going into Big 12 play than what Houston's doing. Now, you could say that's because Arizona didn't play well out of conference. I get all of that, but at the same time, this has been very, very good for Arizona. So you got to really throw that one in there. Now, I think a big part of this is that there have been some guys that have come out of here and they have been much, much better than expected, and they have continued to progress. And one of those guys that I think has continued to progress that has been very, very good is Tobe Awaka. Now, what is Tobe Awaka bringing that maybe we didn't expect? But first, FanDuel, my friends, FanDuel. Check out FanDuel. All right, here's the deal with FanDuel. Okay, Super Bowl 59 is here. One game, two teams, endless possibilities, and there's no better way to make every play count and be exciting than with FanDuel Sportsbook. Okay, here's the great deal. You can download the app on FanDuel.com or head to FanDuel.com to get started. Now, bet just $5, and if you win, you will score $200 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com. Again, you got college basketball here. You got the NBA. You got all these different things going on. Check it out at FanDuel. Another one of these ones. You're going to thank me later. The great thing about FanDuel is, too, that you can bet during the game. You can bet ahead. You can bet a lot of different things. FanDuel is fantastic. There's a reason that everybody is using FanDuel. Go ahead and check it out. Thanks for keeping it locked on Wildcats and making this your first listen of the day. I am your host, Mike Luke. Okay, now let's talk a little bit about where we are at now when it comes to Arizona and Tobe Awaka. Tobe Awaka is the man. Tobe Awaka has been really, really good for Arizona, and he continues to get better. He's the thing with Waka, you look at his stat line, and it's like 8 and 15, 12 and 13, and a bunch of different things are just kind of falling into place for him. But the big thing about him, too, is that he hustles hard. He plays very hard, and that's something that I think we've seen that you just really can't teach. You either have or you don't. Tobe Awaka has that one in spades. He's been very, very good. I dubbed them the Twins. I will apologize for that. He is much better than that. He's a hustler. He's a grinder. He can do a lot of different things, like I said. And he is his offensive game is really picking up. Watching him play, how tough he's been, how reliable he has been in Big 12 play has just been great. He is he's kind of the epitome of a guy that Tommy Lloyd has continued to develop. And by continuing to develop, you've gotten somebody that is he's just a difference maker. And look at those stat lines. I think there's the best offensive rebounder in the country. And he is, he is a really good aspect to this Arizona team. And he fits in just well. The one thing I don't get is I wish that Henry and Tobe could play together. It makes no sense to me why they can't. But it is what it is. Then you got to talk a little bit, too, about Carter Bryant. Carter Bryant stepped up in a massive way for Arizona. If he's here next year, great. I don't expect him to be, but it would be awesome if he is. He is a really, really good three-point shooter. The way that he's hunting those shots has been great. And if you give him any bit of room, he's going to go ahead and he's going to take that. And there's a good chance that he is going to make that. That's the best part about all of this, is that he is going to go out there and he is going to make a real big move. And that's the great thing about him, is what you watch him and you're just kind of like, all right, can he be that next person? Because again, you always hear people that are saying, well, I wish that Carter Bryant, I wish that Tommy Lloyd had more high-level NBA players. Here's the thing with Carter, is that if Carter goes pro, he's going to be a late first-round pick. If Carter comes back, Carter could be a top 7 pick. But either way, he's a top-end talent, and just watching the way that he moves, he's just, he's a dude that just kind of gets it, and that's what's exciting about this entire aspect with Carter Bryant, is you're going to continue to see him develop. Now, I didn't think that he would become the three-point shooter that he's been, and that has been a very pleasant surprise, because he's been a lockdown three-point shooter since Big 12 play started. You leave him, he's generally making them, and he's made them in big times. That's the other thing. He's made a lot of big shots when it's really mattered. And he does it with a smile on his face. Now, one thing about him is he's never committed a foul. You can you can watch him and you can see that he has never committed a foul. But it's fun to just watch him. It's fun to just watch how he goes about his business. And just, again, comes from a really good family, really good kid. So there's that. And then Henry Vasar has kind of come back to earth a little bit. But I don't know that should be entirely unexpected, quite frankly, because he is, I don't know that anybody knew quite what to expect from him this season, but He's probably going to be back at the U of A. I don't think that there's anything, I don't know that there's any doubt about it that he's going to be back at the U of A. And that's a good thing because next year as a, how do I put this? As a junior, he's going to be a lot of problems because he's just still got to get stronger. He's not really that. I mean, again, he's good. He's shown a lot, but it's going to take him a little bit of, I think, one step back to get 2 steps forward. But if you can get him back and he's your starting center next year, yes, please sign me up for 2. But what you're also kind of finding out too is that, yes, while Arizona doesn't have a lot of great 3-point shooters, they've also got a lot of guys, though, that can just kind of help out in their own individual ways. We're going to talk about one of those because there is one guy that I think is probably not getting quite enough love. But first, TurboTax, my friends, TurboTax. Okay, here's the deal. This is a message from sponsor Intuit TurboTax. All right, taxes was waiting and wondering and worrying if you were able to get your money back. Now, the waiting and all that worrying and some more, have the good folks at Intuit TurboTax take care of you. Here's the deal. An expert who gives you taxes, their individual attention as they work on your return. Woo-hoo! While you get real-time updates on the program. Again, here's the great thing is, you put it in there, you're not going to have to say, well, I guess I'll hear from you in like 3 years. They're going to be able to take care of you, and they're going to keep you in the loop. No waiting, no wondering, no worries. That's a very underrated aspect. Now, this is taxes. Get an expert now on TurboTax.com. And again, only available with TurboTax Live Full Service. Be very clear about that. And real-time updates only in the iOS mobile app. See guaranteed details at TurboTax.com/guarantees. Again, TurboTax. Check it out with TurboTax too. This is kind of a stressful time of the year for a lot of people. Just hop in there. TurboTax will get you covered. There's a reason that everybody is using it. Thanks for keeping it locked on Wildcats and making this your first listen of the day. I am your host, Mike Luke. Okay, now let's look a little bit ahead then. Jaden Bradley. I love Jaden Bradley. Jaden Bradley, again, he had a lot of turnovers. I get that. That's not ideal. I get all of that stuff. But at the same time, Jaden Bradley is a pest. 7 steals. He has just got an ability. He has an uncanny ability to be able to just kind of get his hands everywhere, to be able to prevent fast breaks, to be able to just do a lot of different things. He's just a good basketball player. He's a winning basketball player. Now, you could say that he's had a little, he had a few too many turnovers. I mean, that's fair, for sure. But you look at his box score, you look at what he's been able to do, and he's been somebody that has, he's a developing shooter. I wish he would shoot a little bit more, to be honest with you. Not only a developing shooter, somebody that is getting out there in the fast break, making plays happen. He's just been good. There's no other way around it. He has just been a good basketball player for Arizona, and he's steady. You know every single game what you're going to get out of Jaden Bradley. And that's, when you've dealt with Kirk Creaso, when you dealt with Kylan Boswell, you've dealt with some guys that just so he's a breath of fresh air. But either way, he's been great for Arizona. And you look on the perimeter, KJ Lewis. When KJ Lewis gets downhill, KJ Lewis is a problem. It's when he starts trying to dribble and do a whole bunch of different things that he can't do, that's when it becomes an issue. But when he just gets downhill, when he gets to the bucket, he puts his head down, he's good. He's really good. He can finish around the hoop. He's got a knack for the ball. He's just got to continue to do what he can do. And if he can continue to do that, then Arizona's going to be in good shape, and he's going to be in good shape. Just like I said, a big part of that is factoring in what he can do, what he can't do. And when he plays within his rhythm, he's in a good spot. Okay, but again, Arizona now 8-1 in conference play. Huge, huge stuff for Arizona. And looking forward then, you got some more winnable games. You got Arizona State. You got BYU. None of these games are going to be given. None of these games are going to be easy, obviously. But this is also a situation where Arizona, I think, is going to be in really, really good shape. And kudos to Tommy Lloyd and the coaching staff. They've done a very, very nice job. Now, tomorrow, We're going to break down Arizona basketball, where Arizona's at the midseason point of the Big 12, grades, everything that comes into it. Tommy Lloyd, he's good. The coaches, the players, they are good as well. It's going to be fun to be able to watch how exactly this does play out. But as always, very much appreciate you all making Locked On Wildcats your first listen of the day. Your team every day. We will be back with you tomorrow. TTFN, ta-ta for now. Back the A and go Cats.